wider than a mile.
Hello and welcome to The Chosen Ones, where each week we spin the big wheel and build around whatever it lands on. This week we get our second ever Fans' Choice entry, Diana, the Moon Lady. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Diana fan. I don't like assassins who don't make use of their extra crit, and I hate how long it takes for her to cast her ultimate. I think that's actually the most iconic part of her kit, is her dying as she does her shield animation. I actually had to look up what items are good on her because I don't think I've ever put an item on her. So with very little experience to go off of, I decided to draw inspiration from a historical figure. A few figures leaped to my mind, like Neil Armstrong, UA, or Mac Tonight, but I realized that that's just settling for second best. So today we're building Moon Diana. And if you think that the moon isn't a historical figure, well, then I guess we can agree to disagree. What does it mean to go full Moon Diana? Well, even though it looks pretty small up in the sky, the moon is actually really big. So we need our Diana to also be, really big. Like 4-star big. So we're going to pick up as many Dianas as we can, and then 2 other Moonlights that we're going to have to 3-star. Our start is sort of bittersweet because we get a chosen Diana and we're basically at a 3-star by 2-2, which is great. But it's the assassin chosen instead of Moonlight. We're not going to pass it up. We don't pass up on-brand chosens on this channel. But I guess that's going to be the rest of our team. We're going to go assassin Moonlight. And I mean, if we had to give the moon a secondary trade, it could be assassin. I mean, the moon sort of comes out of nowhere. It likes to live in the darkness. It's a better fit than Brawler or something. So we get our golden Diana. It's going to be a while though before we can get a 4-star Diana, as we still need to max out our Lysandra, and then either Aphelios or Silas. We'll see what comes first. Do you ever stop and think that Diana's kit is trying too hard to be like the moon? Like, she spawns a bunch of white spheres that orbit her, clearly a group of mini moons. But if they're orbiting her, that makes her a planet. Which, according to my sources, a planet is not a moon. By the way, I do have items planned for Diana. I'm not just keeping her on one tier as some sort of moons control the tide reference. Although that doesn't hurt. I'm hoping to turn the tier into a Hand of Justice, and then also give her a Gunblade. She's still strong with only a tier, although maybe not 3-star Yasuo strong. So, most assassins are able to jump to the backline all by themselves. Diana, being sort of the worst assassin, has to actually use a bit of a secret weapon of hers, moon boots. If you've never seen moon boots, I'll let my pal Arthur demonstrate them.
Moon boots! Wow!
Yeah, so that might be a bit of a deep cut reference for some of my listeners, but it's a Diana episode. What did you expect? I mean, look at the blade she's carrying around. Now that's a deep cut. Our early game went pretty well, and I'm happy with our items so far, now that we have a Hand of Justice on Diana. But I'm also happy with the Warmogs I put on Kat. There's nothing less satisfying than watching Katarina die without her ult going off, and I think Warmog's a pretty great way of keeping her alive long enough to cast it. I also just had a ton of Giant's belts, so it had to go somewhere. Oh wait, let's hold up a second. So this was actually a request from my mum, but if anybody else wants to get their mums watching The Chosen Ones, I am trying to be more inclusive. Hey, Mum, I'm gonna put a big moon over Diana. See that flashing moon? That's who the episode is about. Also, just to be clear, I'm not in the room right now. This is a YouTube video. But okay, let's keep going. If you take a look at my bench right now, you'll notice that it's a bit of a motley crew of 2-cost units. I'm trying to buy them all up just so that we'll have either Silas or Aphelios in the shop, because if we can't get either of them to a 3-star, then we're in a really rough spot. You could almost call it a 2-cost monopoly. You probably wouldn't, but maybe if you're writing a moon-based episode of your YouTube channel, you might. We finally have our 3-star Aphelios, which means a 4-star Diana. I wasn't expecting much when the fight started with a pretty quick Nami bubble, but after that, Diana turned into the Terminator. This is why I didn't pick Neil Armstrong as our focus for today, because anybody can land on the moon, but look at the impact when the moon lands on you. So I'm not really a fan of the recommended items I built on Diana. They feel very feast or famine. I mean, if she gets stunned, that's just sort of it. I will say that the recommended build does have a gun blade instead of a jeweled gauntlet. It didn't have the components for that. It would make her survive a bit longer, but I think a Quicksilver Cloak would do more than a Titan's Resolve. I will admit, when it works, it does work, and it is fun to watch Diana take down the entire back line, just single file. I wouldn't describe Diana as a glass cannon, but more like a real cannon. She's solid and sturdy, does a ton of damage, but her weakness is if everyone around her dies, well then you just have an immobile cannon. This happens to Diana a lot because her team isn't that good, and if you're trying this at home, my advice is push for Silas instead of Aphelios. Because Aphelios with no items or marginal items is not that helpful, especially when the rest of your team jumps as far away from him as possible. Honestly, at this point in the late game, we're not really favored in any of our matchups, so each time Diana's leaping into the back line, it's very much a leap of faith.
Leap of faith, leap of faith, leap of faith, leap of faith. Only thing to do, only thing to do is jump. Only thing to do is jump over the moon.
But sometimes the only thing you can do is lose. But you know what? We're gonna get a 4th place finish. It's not bad. 4-star unit, 4th place. It all adds up. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel. We make about 2 of these every week. Alternatively, you can fight me IRL. Watch out, I will knock you into my orbit.